Hello, and welcome back to Hourglass Season 2, Episode 15. I would like to start with just an explanation that the month is almost over. So actually by the time this video comes out, we should be into a whole brand new month. And at this time of me recording the intro, we don't know what the next month project is for the Hourglass server. We're gonna put it to a vote this coming weekend for the server members. So I am desperately trying to finish the items that I have marked off on my spawn cleanup list. So for those of you that may have missed last week's episode, I did do a little bit of a show and tell. Ooh, light mod is on. Make those go away. I did do a little bit of a show and tell of this area here. We are underneath the blacksmith, and these are all of the ores that we're going to be storing in this build. And this is about as far as I had made it originally. Is that? Yay! Oh, come here. Alright, this is gonna hurt. It's okay. Nope. All I want to do is pick up that block. Give it! Alright, we're gonna do this. I'm sorry. There. Ha! Now it's oxidized. Okay. I was waiting for it to oxidize so that we could have a full lineup of everything. So, what I'm going to try to do first is set up a system here. So you'll see that I have these kind of like staggered. Now I did that originally just because I was being silly when I set the chests out. I didn't want them to connect because I knew we had a lot of different types of stuff that we're not ever going to have like super duper much of. So it gave me an idea though that I think what I'm going to do is instead of having these two sets of levels here, I'm actually going to develop a system with 3 levels. So then I can kind of squish everything a little bit closer so that it doesn't have to be this like really long, really, kind of cumbersome area to go through. Instead, we're going to have like 3 layers. So kind of what I have marked out here is mocking a layer out there and then here, and then another one up here. So I don't know that this is gonna work exactly the way I want to. Nothing with redstone ever usually does, because the impulse item sorter filter system thing here does not stack vertically very nicely. So if I offset it somehow, I don't know, basically. I've got to test a few things here to see what system I like. And then the other thing is, and the reason why I'm not super sure this is going to work, let me pull up F3B, F3G for the chunk borders. This right here is the last bit of what would be our spawn chunks. So on the other side of that line is chunks that are not always loaded. So I can't let any of the redstone go outside of this line, which is kind of why it seems a little strange why the way I'm setting some of this area up, where I originally had marked it out to stay all on one side. So I don't know. I gotta try a couple things. Basically, what I don't want to have happen is to have any of these items get deleted in chunk loading problems if somebody is at the sorting system over there in the red building and have something go into an unloaded chunk and then get deleted somehow. So I'm not exactly certain on it, but when we marked this out, this is the end of our spawn chunks here. And so, oh, hello. That's what that is. And so then when we go underground, we only have until like this area here. So I've got to figure out a couple things. I got to figure out how we're setting the storage up, but then also, as you can see, I've been flying in and out of like this side here. There is an access point through the actual build, but I want to make it a little bit easier because like basically right now you have to come up over here and then down into this area. And I figured that we can incorporate a staircase, but I also want to have a fly-in ability, especially since this build is on top of the mountain. I want it so that people who are flying up here can just fly right in, and, fall in. So I want to incorporate access from the build, access from flight mode, and set up all the storages. So that is our first mission. And oh my goodness, I have set myself up for a lot of head banging on the table or on the chests or on the stone floor. So I will be back once we have a few more decisions made for this project. And welcome back. I have a little bit of an update and a little bit of a confession. This project, as always, is going to take way more than I thought it would. So let's show you kind of our progress. So a couple things have changed, namely the depth of this area and the width of the area have about doubled in size. So I moved all of the storage down from about that level there with where the gravel patch is. That was where these chests were when they were in that like weird zigzaggy line, because I was just being a big dork and, you know, just went all the way down. So I condensed them down, dug down like 4 or 5 levels, and moved the items kind of closer together so we could get an idea of how we were going to map it. And so basically what I was going to do with all of these items is then flip them over to this side. Because again, remember I finally remembered the difference here. Remember, this is spawn chunk, this is not. So I am trying to keep all of the redstone and all of the storage inside of spawn chunk. Oh no, I messed it up that time. So what I had to do was I wanted to have 3 separate layers, because otherwise the build, the storage itself would go like all the way to the end. And so I don't even really know how to explain all this. So basically I dug down and then we started mocking out some redstone at this level and decided I didn't have enough space to do the 3 tiers that I was envisioning. So we dug down so that I could dig out further this way to spread out the redstone. Now, somebody somewhere has a much better system than this. I guarantee it. Somebody with better redstone knowledge can avoid all of these hopper chains and having 3 separate units here, but this is the one system that I know how to do. And I don't, I get really nervous learning new redstone because that's not how Zelda brain works. So unfortunately, we just are going to have this huge monstrosity of redstone. And it took a lot to dig out and to figure out, because let's get out here. We are directly next to this wall here. So I don't know if it looks super unnatural. Let me get away. I did have to do just a touch of terraforming there, so that part does look a little flat now. But once we get the beacon removed from digging, we can probably like change this area up a little bit. And also, I have no idea what happened here. I think someone just dug out to be under the beacon, because that is such a random little path. I saw that while I was working. I'm sorry, I'm distracted. So yeah, so we were literally right up against the edge of the mountain here, which made it a little bit challenging because I didn't want any of the redstone to poke out, obviously. But we've figured out a way to keep it a little bit shorter. Oops, I fell in. So that we won't have to use the area up here to access down there. Instead, what I think we're going to do is we're going to have a fly-in zone, maybe a little bit, where is it? Here, this kind of flattish edge here. I think what we can do is have a part of the path that comes up around this edge here into this kind of grassy, dirty area and cuts through into the mountain like one of their old mine shafts. Since this is the blacksmith, they're going mining to go get all the stuff. So I thought what we could do is have a entrance down there that comes out into the cave, and then you come around to the storage. So there will be access up to there, but now again, we're so far down from the build, I'm not exactly sure how I'm gonna make this like stair-steppy wind down. Other than we can dig into the mountain a lot, and there's actually some caves in here that we can maybe make use of to avoid just having like a whole flat wall along the edge. But basically what I want to do first is finish the redstone so it comes out to here. So we're gonna do all of this redstone All of these hoppers. Oh, this looks crazier the more I think about it. All of those hoppers. That's so many hoppers per slice. Maybe I should have spent some time researching better redstone. So this is the plan for now, and yeah, let's just do it, because I've already talked myself out of like 5 other options, and so here we go. And welcome back from the time lapse, guys. I'm so excited. We have a couple things to talk about. The first of which is I got this monstrosity of a thing, of an organizing system done. It's set. There's only a couple things left that I've got to do, but I want to kind of walk through some of the decisions that I made, yeah, so basically there was some holes in the wall here that originally I was planning to have the items come in a little bit further forward, but because of the way that I had to structure the redstone, I had to push it back quite a ways. And so now, let's see, so one of them is coming through here. So this first chain does this line of hoppers, and then as you'll see, it comes down here. It's a little janky looking. It comes down, it drops down, and then it, and then it comes around here for this line. So the first set of items that gets sorted is from the coal, iron, gold, and then it cycles back around, and then it does diamonds, emeralds, lapis, redstone, and then this chest here that doesn't have a label on it, or like a item frame on it, what I'm gonna do is this is gonna be the overflow, so that if something ends up in this storage slice that's not meant to, and the very, very random chance that something completely overfills, the thing that may possibly overflow is the iron blocks, just if we're filling them in directly from the farm and or the iron ingots. If they're not being boxed into shulkers, those two potentially could overflow, so the idea is that they'll just go ba-ba-ba-ba-ba, and so occasionally we'll check this chest to make sure that there's no extra items in there. But one of the things that, so that is the first slice. The multi-item sorter takes one full shulker, or actually one full double chest of items. And so that's what these two slices are. Now, the other multi-item slice for the blacksmith is all of the copper variants. And so what that's going to do, that's going to come into the water stream a little bit further back. So it comes in back here. So this is, if I pop this out, and I have haste. Oh my goodness, I'm breaking things. I need those blocks back. Let's see, are we going to get this? Yes! So this is the water vader. That needs to stay there for now, because it's spawnable up in there. But this is the water vader that's going to bring the copper blocks in. And so it comes back here into these filters. Oh, and that's something I forgot to show on those. But I've got all the filters set. And then as I come around, I guess we'll go around the backside, the very backside. It's kind of a pain to get around back here, but it is fully accessible. We can access all the filters. This very last one here, as I was talking about the copper here on this bottom line, this bottom one doesn't have a filter set because I didn't want to do an extra line for copper, because everything from that piece of copper to this piece of copper actually has 2 variations, and these ones that we're storing are the non-waxed variant. And then if somebody needs to wax them for a project to keep them at the right state, they can. And then what I figure is going to happen is any of the waxed variations will come in here if they are if there's extras from a project. But just because I'm betting we'll have more of the regular types as people craft them and have too many for projects. That's going to be what comes into here. And I did spend a little bit of time getting some extra of the oxidized just because that takes forever to do. So I hopefully can include that bit of time lapse also, because I needed to replenish the wood that I got for all of these barrels and hoppers and chests. And I figured while I was doing that, instead of AFKing at a tree farm, I would work on oxidizing copper. So I'll show you guys that little bit of just grindy time lapse next. And while you're watching that, no, wait. I'll just finish the explanation here, because the very final thing is you'll notice that there is iron block there and iron block there. Now, when we look at this one, it's meant to be deep slate emerald, and now I found out through working on this project that we actually, none of the players on the server had any deep slate emerald ore yet, because the multi-item sorter filter that we have, the boxes, let's go out there, we'll start there. We didn't even have the filters ready to go into the multi-item sorters. So this slice here, so this is the copper stuff, remember? So there is weathered copper and then waxed weathered, and same thing with oxidized and waxed, regular and then waxed. So we're gonna, the multi-item sorter is gonna have a full copper slice, but we're not gonna have chests to store these. But then the other blackstone item stuff, we have all of these filters are set. And then when we look in here, we didn't have any deep slate emerald ore to even set the filters. So what I've been doing, I've spent about total on and off about 6 to 8 hours. I can't focus just on mining. But I did a whole ton of mining and caving and lighting and stuff. And several other server members participated also, and we got 4 deep slate emerald ore. And so what we're gonna do with these, and it seems so silly to work so hard to get some of these really expensive blocks just to get them in the storage system, but I feel like it's a good commitment to the future. We're going to have deep slate emerald ore in the filter, and then with these other 2, what we have to do, and this is gonna seem so strange, but I don't know why, I'm like a collection, like a completionist, a collection person. I've got to, I can't just leave it as you know, like it doesn't go here, or like it gets stored with valuable stuff, or any of the reasons. Now, why do they all show signal strength? This should be the slice. Wait, hold on. Is it this slice? No, it's this one. I gotta remember how to do this. So it's that slice right there. Alright, let's see if I accidentally dropped something in it, or did it have a signal strength? I can't tell. I think it's this one. Yes! Okay, so I had a torch in. So we're just gonna have 1 item in here. Now, I know I gotta do a little bit of extra research. I think if you use something, an item as a filter that is only stacks to 16, like ender pearls or eggs, I think the signal strength reads differently, so it doesn't hold like the 41 items that are locked in there. So I've got to find out if there's a way to just have like 1 item feed, or, you know, maybe 5 or something. But for now, we have it set as a filter here, and then this very last one we get to put in the item frame. Oh my goodness. As somebody who likes to be like a completionist, this feels amazing. It's so silly how long that took. But between the copper grind and the emerald grind, just to kind of finish out and make sure I had enough stuff to set all the filters, this is probably going to be the only project we get done for the week. But I want to, as you can tell, other people have had problems accessing the storage already, and it feels really claustrophobic because we're like at this level here, we're like really close to the chest, but it's also really tall, so it just feels very awkward. So the very last thing I do, so I'm going to show you guys that time lapse of the copper and the tree grind while I'm deciding on an aesthetic for this area, and we've got a few things to consider. The first of which is I think I'm going to push this wall back so that we have some more space to work with as far as decoration. We're gonna have to cover up all of the redstone madness up there, and I want to have flight access, and I think it's actually gonna come in at about this level here. Smack. So where this stone face to the mountain is, I think it's actually going to be pretty low. Actually, maybe it's this section here, but basically it's going to come in so that you come directly in at the lower level. So this level here, I think will work the best, because then you can just oh, and there's gonna be like something that hides the barrels too. I've got some ideas, but I've got to start putting some of the ideas in the world. As I was mining, I was coming up with lots of ideas, but I've got to work on the access areas so that people don't have to fly in and out of that weirdness. I've got to clean this area up, push the wall back so that we can do a nicer decoration in here. So enjoy one more time lapse of grindy stuff, and then we'll bring you back with the decorated blacksmith. Bye! And welcome back. I have a confession to make. My recording schedule has been badly affected lately. I don't exactly know why I've been struggling, but I can't always seem to get my recordings in when I want to. And this week, actually, I got really sick in the last couple of days of the week. So I know that this episode isn't out on time again, but I've got some progress that I wanted to show for the blacksmith. Now, the first thing is the way down. I decided to have a little bridge because I wanted there to be like this kind of winding path with lots of kind of interconnected spaces. So then I've got this area that we're going to detail out, and then I'm starting to struggle. I can't tell if I want to like do another bridge down there or if I want to connect it down through what I know is like an existing, oh, that's too low. Through like an existing, this is an actual cave, so I don't know if it's like, I mean, is it kind of silly to use like natural terraforming too, when like it's like, I don't know, because it's not finished looking, it's not polished looking, but there's actual cave here, so we could connect down through this and come around. So I've got that decision, but then my supports for the way that I organized this like we're going to call it a shelf. I don't know what else to call it. The way that I organized the supports for that don't line up with the way that I organized the supports for this. So there's a lot of these like weird janky like areas that I'm having to connect up, because then once you get through this area, all of these blocks are exposed. So what I did for these ones is I made it look like the beam was like being compressed down, and having to support falling rocks, but then I don't know what to do about those ones. So, and the reason why I wasn't sure if I should go through that cave over there is because I kind of made my own this way too, so that we could wind our way down into the actual storage if you were following the walking path. So, I've gone back and forth a lot about kind of how to move around in here, because at first I thought maybe we just do bubble vaders up into the actual build, but then I was like, wow, that's really close to the actual storage, and that's the whole reason I pushed the wall back even more, was so that when you came down here you wouldn't have to be like smack against this like big intimidating line of chests. So I want to still find a way to give this area some atmosphere, probably another shelf type area, and then the actual flight entrance it's set up, it connected exactly to the path, so there was a turn of the like switchback path here, and when I busted through the mountainside, it lined up perfectly. So we just kept the switchback kind of path coming in and gave it the like traditional supports. So I've got to find a way to connect the flight area over here. That one's going to be easy. It's just going to be like a swoop over to this side, and then I've got to finish detailing it out, because I've spent a couple hours in here detailing, and for it to look like this still is, I'm not gonna lie, it's a little discouraging, but I think overall I've got a good flow. I've just got to make a couple decisions and stop waffling, because pretty much like when I ran into this problem, and then I was like, oh, let's just see what the logs look like underneath it. I was able to solve this problem almost immediately. And I added like extra support lines here, and I was like, it adds to the detail for it not to be symmetric, because it adds to the character and the history of the place. So I've just got to get out of my mindset of everything has to like perfectly align and matchy, because like this section I intentionally made very symmetric with it where everything is, and so much so to the fact that it's not symmetric on the outside. So like the wall shows there, but it doesn't show over there. So so just lets my mind go too crazy. Like nobody else cares about that level of detail. Like I can fake some of this area out. But I did have a lot of fun with coming up with the bridge shape. I was up on scaffolding and kept falling, and it was a blast. And then this area here. So the areas that I'm completing, I'm having a lot of fun detailing out. So I've just got to kind of just zone out and like just start putting blocks down, I think, and not worry so much about everything being like exactly perfect. But part of the reason why I brought you back right now is because we actually are into June, which means cleanup month is done, and we have our June project for the server. So I wanted to get an update here, but also to introduce the next area, because once we're done let's be real, I'm probably going to take a break from this, because I got myself so discouraged looking at this much stone still after like 3 hours up here. I'm probably going to take a break and go help prep the new area. So what I would like to do is take you over there. And welcome back. So the project for this month is out pretty far. I did some scouting in the world and didn't realize how far away from spawn I was, but we found this absolutely humongous birch I said perch birch like hill that's like sticking up out of the forest beneath it. And what makes it really awesome is the idea that we have for this month is for a castle. And the castle, what in the reference pictures that the server decided on, is on an elevated piece of land. So as I was on my way over here, I did also notice this meadows right next to us that is also elevated. And it looks almost the same from this side. It's not as high, it's not as steep, but there's no trees to have to take down either. So I might pose this as an idea for to use this area instead. Oh, hello. I don't know. Hi. Ouch. We're lagging slightly. My computer doesn't feel good. I don't feel good. Blah. But yeah, so instead of on the birch forest, having to take off the trees, so I don't know. It'll depend on if they want the slightly steeper, like, front side, to really distinguish between where the ground is and where the, castle starts. So we'll see. So we're going to be somewhere hereabouts, but with that, I think I'm going to go ahead and put the episode together for you guys, get it out so it's not so much later, because at this point now there's going to be some grindy work that I feel more like doing than the detailing work, unfortunately. So I don't think I'm going to make any more I'm just being realistic here. I'm just being realistic. I don't think I'm going to make any more progress on the blacksmith for a while. I need to clear my head of it, go back with a fresh set of eyes, and not be so super critical of the decisions I was making. So I think with that, I'm going to say a farewell from Hourglass this week, and hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Bye!